Thank you very much. Good evening. Baruch Hashem, this place become my second home every time I come here. I always have an opportunity to speak here for my first lecture for tonight. Later I have another lecture in Hebrew in Torah Or at 9 o'clock, Bezrat Hashem. And, this place, Social Dashboard, is a Jewish activity center of Los Angeles. And very nice unity for the community. They make here Shabbatons. People come here on Shabbat, Oneg Shabbat. Beautiful. A lot of people here live nearby, walking distance. They can come here on Shabbat. It's very nice. The idea is that, we need places that Bezrat Hashem spreads Torah. The more, the better. The more places we have, the better it is, especially when it's so professional. The last lecture that we made here had more than 100,000 views, which is very good because it travels to so many Jews and obviously it affects so many people. Everyone who participates in places like this has a share in it. Today we decided to speak about some current events, things that are happening in our world. As we speak, things are developing all over the world. And also to speak about some tips to succeed in life. Even though it sounds like two different topics, it's actually very connected. Why? Because the world has changed tremendously in recent years. It's not what it used to be. Some of you are older, they already know what I'm talking about, that one generation ago, everything was totally different than today. If you bring somebody from 40, 50 years ago back into life, and you bring him to the world today to see what's happening here, he'll get the shock of his life. He won't recognize the world, how everything become computerized, how everything is Facebook, and everything is YouTube, and everyone has a smartphone, and everyone is an addict. Everyone is addicted to his phone. People cannot put the phone for more than a minute down, and even right away every second they check, especially the busy ones. And how it's affecting our life as far as marriage and raising children and in relationship and dating and in business, succeeding in life in general. What the world has become, it's not as easy, it's becoming more and more complicated and people pay the price. On top of it, we see that the world is boiling when it comes to the political situation of what's happening in the world. So we'll connect between the two topics. First, we have to know that everyone here understands that until 10 years ago, the Arabic world, the Muslim world, was more or less stable. In every country, they had a dictator. Whether he was good to his nation, whether he was bad, whether he was very bad to his nation and tortured them and did all kinds of things to them, one thing we cannot deny, as long as they had a dictator in charge, the country was under control. Yes, people didn't have rights, people suffered a lot, people were not happy, but the country was under a control of one king or one leader. As soon as the Facebook revolution began, that the Arab had access to the internet and to Facebook, and they started to communicate with each other and be able to express their feelings and political views, it led into revolution in every one of the countries. Almost every Arab country in the last 10 years had a revolution. You can see what's happening right now in Syria. 400,000 people died. 400,000, that's what they report. It could be million. We don't know the numbers. They gas their own people. Nobody knows in Syria who fights against who. Even the Russian and the American that have very important intelligence, not less than the Israeli Mossad. They're supposed to know what's going on in the Middle East. They don't know who to bomb. They don't know who's ISIS, who's Al-Qaeda, who's the rebels, who is the forces of Assad. They have no idea what's going on. Everybody fights against everyone. And they blame each other. You're bombing the wrong people. Why? It's not so simple to recognize between one murderer to another. They all have guns and they all scream Allahu Akbar. It's very difficult to tell who is to this side and who's to the other side, and how come they kill each other when they both have the same agenda to kill Jews and Americans and Europeans. It's very difficult to tell the difference. Even Arabs cannot tell the difference. I get emails from Arabs, they themselves do not know anymore, besides Sunni and Shiites, that they all know the difference. Right now in a situation, they do not know who is on their side and who is against their side. See what happened in Libya. They had Gaddafi, as crazy as he was, while he was there, they were a country under control. He died, they kicked him out, until today they fight there. Tunisia, same thing. Afghanistan, from the time the Americans went in, Taliban problems, until today they kill each other non-stop every day. Iraq, they thought Saddam Hussein is the modern Hitler that gassed thousands of people and killed them in Iran-Iraq war, and his own people and the Kurdish, and they decided that Saddam is a threat to the world. That's how everything started. They knocked him out of power. In the end, they did not find nuclear weapon in the end. They never found it. They had it or not, maybe smuggled it out of the country. Until today in Iraq, non-stop fighting and killing. So basically, in many of the Arab countries, they collapse and they begin to kill each other. And it keeps going and going and going. The American dream and the European dream that one day they can make democracy in Arab countries, they begin to understand there's no chance for it. Those countries are not ready for democracy. They're not ready for election. No one will respect what the majority wants. The minority will continue to kill and to bomb, and it will never end. Those countries have only one solution, to have a dictator, but they won't let. Therefore, they continue to kill each other forever until Mashiach comes. And that's a part of the plan. It's all HaKadosh Baruch Hu does. Why Hashem does it? Why in Egypt they have all this? Muslim brother knocking out Mubarak, the next thing, El-Sisi knocked down the Muslim brother, and now they execute each other. Why it's that? Because a part of the protection that Hashem has to his own people is to make the enemies of the Jewish people fight each other. I always say it, for 20 years I say it. If the Arabs had one day of unity, not more, not one day of unity, they would say tomorrow or this date, let's say September 1st, for one day we don't fight each other. No Shiites, no Sunnis, no Al-Qaeda, no. We all gather together against the Jews. One day, that's the end of us. Now one Chas v'Shalom will survive. All they have to do is to take 1.8 million women, children, terrorists, and just walk to Israel. That's it. Just walk like that. March into Israel. What do you think the Israelis going to do? How many soldiers they have? 100,000? They cannot deal with 1.8 million people. They walk in, they come to the border, they begin to shake the fence. The fence goes down, and they walk in. There's nothing you can do. What are you going to do? Start shooting in thousands of people and killing them? It's going to be a world war. They just walk in, and the end of the story is right there. But Hashem is actually busy non-stop instigating between them non-stop. Not only now. All the time it was like that. One against the other, fighting against the other, hating each other. It got to the point that who do you think is the best friends of Israel right now in the Middle East? There's one country that is actually right now behind the scene cooperating with Israel. Saudi Arabia, believe it or not. The number one sponsor of terrorism in history, that sponsor all the activity against Israel from day one, all of a sudden realized the little devil, what they call Israel, it's nothing compared to the big devil Iran. If Iran will put their hands on one nuclear bomb, in less than a day Saudi Arabia will be in their hands. They realized it. It's if Israel are the only one maybe can bomb them and stop it, we better now give them everything they need. Even if they need their planes to land in Saudi and come from here to attack, we'll give them the money, we'll give them whatever they need. There's one more country that helps Israel very much. Who?
Azerbaijan.
Azerbaijan. Azerbaijan They don't love Israel. Don't make any mistakes here. They know Israel is the only hope for us to survive, because as soon as these crazy ones in Iran will have a nuclear, they will show it to the whole world. Tomorrow morning they walk into Azerbaijan and occupy it. They're not going to be able to fight them. The next thing they walk into Iraq and take it over. The next thing they take Saudi and Kuwait and Abu Dhabi and Bahrain. It's all going to be a matter of weeks. And they'll take over the whole Middle East. Syria, it's already an allied with them. The Russians are behind them. The Chinese are behind them. Here you go. United States is out of the picture. Chaz v'shalom, Israel could be very shortly from now totally isolated. Like the word Am lebadad ishkon, Bilam, he gave a prophecy. What did he say about Israel? Am lebadad ishkon uvagoim lo itchashav. The nation of Israel at one point will get to a point that will be totally isolated. We used to have friends. Who used to be our friends? United States has not such a great friendship anymore. Everybody understand. Obama did a wonderful job in the last 7 years. Who used to be our best friends in the open world? Canada. What happened in Canada 2 weeks ago? Our friend Harper lost the election. As soon as the new government took over, first announcement, we have to make relationship with Lebanon. Who is Lebanon? Hezbollah. They're already declaring, no more Israel, no more Jews, no more friendship. We call the Arab words, let's make peace. But in life, there is one rule that most people do not understand. The owner of the world, the boss of the world, is the creator of the world. He runs the show and he made rules. What rules? Same thing. He made rules that if you don't have oxygen, you die. And if you don't have water, you die. And if you don't have food, you die. Just may take longer. There are rules in a creation. One rule he made, what is it? Every punishment that a person or a country will get is all 100% measure for measure. No coincidental punishments. Nothing is coincident. It's all always measure for measure. Midah keneged midah. Let me explain what I mean. 2 years ago, when I made the lectures and spoke about Down syndrome children and autistic kids, some of the people made a big deal out of it, out of their ignorance. They didn't like what I say. What did I say? I say, when we come to the world, we have all kinds of problems that we bring from our previous life. Sometimes we're born poor. Sometimes we're born not so smart. Sometimes we're born sick. Sometimes we're born with all kinds of problems, speech problems, stuttering, all kinds of things that actually is results of the previous life that we live in. The soul is reincarnated in different bodies, and the way you look right now, it's a direct continuation of your previous life. For instance, if your test right now in life is to give charity, or this is your test, you have a very strong desire to be stingy and not to give money, in order for God to test you, He has to make you wealthy. Making you wealthy, it's not a gift like some wealthy people think. It's a very serious test. Because most wealthy people, they get $1 billion in their lifetime, but they do nothing positive with it. Later, they will regret the moment that they had all this money in their possession. Because if they did the right thing with that, then they are the luckiest people on earth. Because money buys mitzvot. Money can buy you a wonderful next world to come. A world to come, it can get you to the highest level in heaven if you use it correctly. But at the same time, it can destroy you. It can destroy your eternity. It's all depends what you do with the money. If you use the money to make crimes, to make all kinds of things against God, what do you think? The money was good? The money was the worst thing for you. I know someone, he said to me, and the moment I will have money, he lives in a very religious neighborhood. Right away I will move to Florida. So I always ask him, but why? He said, I'm tired of this kind of lifestyle. I want to go and do whatever I want. So I say, may God bless you never to have money. So why you open your mouth like this? I say, you fool, I'm blessing you, I'm not cursing you. If a person already declared, God, give me money that I can go and rebel against you with this money. So what should a person say? Amen? The person should say, God forbid, don't listen to him, God, right? If a person will get money and right away run and buy drugs, the money is something good? The money is destruction. If a person receives money and thanks to the money open a big place and people come to listen to Torah, or he sponsors CDs, or he does things that helps the community and saves souls, then your money is a blessing. If you do the wrong thing with the money, it's a curse, it's not a blessing. Everybody understands that. We refuse to admit, but inside our mind we all know that that's the way it is. So going back to what we said, everything that God does is measure for measure. When something happened to the enemies of Israel, obviously we are hesitating if should be happy or we should pretend that we are upset. Meaning, let's pretend that we are upset. But sometimes some people do not pretend. They just scream, yes, thank God, finally. However, the good recommendation is when your enemies collapse, do not celebrate. Don't run to celebrate, at least not in the open. Why? One day it will be used against you like a boomerang. It will come back around the corner. Better if you're happy, say thank God for you're always doing something to protect us. I'll give you one example. One day after the French people announced that they boycott product from Israel because they are manufactured and export from occupied territories, meaning from West Bank, from Hebron, from East Jerusalem. Once they announced that from now on all products that comes from the occupied territory have to be marked, meaning that they know not to buy it, meaning they put half of Israel on a ban. The next day this massive terrorist attack happened against them. Now you may come and say, oh, how do you know there is a connection? The answer, we don't know. Hashem doesn't send us SMS. We don't get a text. Dear Rabbi and Jewish friends, everything I did as revenge for what they did to you. No, that's not how it goes. However, we're not dumb. If we look at the entire picture, we see how it works. One Spanish reporter, non-Jew, he wrote an amazing article. I'm sure some of you saw it. It ran all over the internet. What did he write? I don't remember word by word, but if you read it, you will know what I'm talking about. He said, we took the Jewish people, we murdered them, we destroyed them, we kicked them out of their homes, we stole their property, all the culture, all the science, all the inventions, all the justice, all the humanity that we had went to hell, went to the garbage. And as results of what we did to the Jews, God punished us and gave us the Arabs instead. Spanish guy, non-Jew. He wrote an amazing article. He is allowed to say it because he's not a Jew. If a Jew will say it, they get angry. But when one of them say it, and he's no 100% is correct, when they went and killed the Jews that helped their society, helped their economy, helped their education, helped medicine, many of them were doctors and judges and people that wrote beautiful things and brought so much to their culture. Mainly in France. The Jews over there are extremely extra intelligent and educated, in the best positions in the society. Same thing in other countries in Europe, but mainly in France. What happened over there? They made the Jews come to a situation that a Jew cannot walk with a yarmulke in France. He cannot walk, it's a life risk. You have to hide it, you put a beret or something. They made in France a yarmulke that looks like hair. It looks like hair. They put it on the head, and no, you don't see yarmulke, you see hair. They attach it, they match it to your hair. It's only good to people that have hair. Someone that doesn't have hair all of a sudden has a tree growing on his head. That's a different thing. However, they find all kinds of solutions. Why? You cannot walk in Europe to show that you're a Jew. In Israel, it's the same thing. Who does the Arab attacks? The religious Jews. All the people that were attacking, stabbing, and hitting with a car were all religious people. Why? Because half of Israel are Goyim. A third of Israel are Arabs. You don't see that they're Arabs. Many of them are Israeli Arabs. They look Israeli. They speak Hebrew. They look like Israelis 100%. When an Arab see 20 people stand in a bus stop and he want to hit them, he's always thinking maybe 5 of them are Arabs. Statistically, and you don't really see who's Israelis walk without kippah, Arabs that are not religious, they walk without kippah, Arab Israelis. So when he hit them, always they used to find the next day in the newspaper that 2 or 3 of them were his brothers that he killed. So now they make sure to target only Jews with yarmulke, to make sure when we kill, we make sure it's a Jew, not a tourist or someone like that. So they go after religious people only. France opened their gates to Arabs. 5-6 million Arabs living in France right now, and it's growing very fast. Germany opened their gates to Arabs. Right now, when Syria has problem, they started to scream, open the gate to refugees. When you don't have Torah, you make a lot of mistakes. Everyone is worried if we're not going to accept them. They all scream racism, racism, we're racist, we're Nazis. Everyone has this panic. But I want to ask you a question. What's better? To pretend that you're not a racist and everyone will say very nice of you and then the next day you'll be dead with your children? Or that people will scream to you, shame on you, racist, and you live happily after? Which one of the 2 options is better? We're not talking in between here. You either let them in and they say very nice, you're not racist, and the next day you get bombed and get killed, or your brother or your neighbor. That's one option. The other option is you say the border is closed, we don't owe you anything. You are not from our country. We're not welcoming immigration from all over the world, from other countries. Why should we welcome terrorists? The problem is some countries in Europe close the gate, but they put tremendous pressure on them. Who put the most pressure against them? United States, the liberal country. You have to open the borders. Believe it or not, while this is happening, in Israel they had an election. It was Netanyahu against Herzog. Herzog is a secular liberal lefty. Netanyahu is a secular righty, meaning he's more to the right side, not to the left. By a miracle, Netanyahu won. Everyone, the broadcast was that he's going to lose. Somehow in the last 24 hours, a miracle happened to him and he won again. Why am I telling you this? This Herzog that was supposed to win would already bring destruction on us by now. I doubt that if Israel will still stay standing. The first announcement he made to Netanyahu after he lost the election, open the borders to refugees from Syria. That's what he wanted. He wanted 10,000 Arab terrorists from Syria that chop heads from ISIS or from Al-Qaeda, one of the 2, to bring them into Israel and destroy us completely. In the name of liberalism. When your head doesn't have Torah, don't be surprised that the next day you're going to suggest this, the worst thing you can ever imagine. Thank God he wasn't the prime minister. If he would be the prime minister, do you know what would happen now in Israel with 10,000 ISIS terrorists walking inside? Not that right now we don't have ISIS terrorists. We have, because do you know how ISIS work? They recruit people on the internet. They brainwash those Muslim youth that have no hopes in their life, no job, no future, no economy, no nothing. Constantly they brainwash them with the speeches that they give in the mosque. And they recruit people all over the world. So meaning every country that Muslims live, right away, they volunteer to join them. Slowly they build 5,000, 10,000, and they give them, wait for the order. They're already inside the country. You don't need to smuggle terrorists inside. They're already in. They are the citizen of the country. Same thing in America. In Israel you have 2 million of them. From 2 million, it's enough that 1% join ISIS, that's it. Now, in case you're not convinced, many Israeli Arabs who were born in Israel went to university, went to Syria to volunteer. Some of them died. Some of them died in Syria. When I was in Antwerp in Belgium, the rabbi over there, when we drove to the shul, he showed me all of them standing in the street. You see them? They all came back from Syria now. A few days ago they were chopping heads in Syria. Now they walk here in Belgium on the street. And they are 100 meters away from the Jewish community, where all the Hasidim in Antwerp, all the ultra-Orthodox Jews living, all the kindergarten, the yeshiva of the kids, 100 meters. You see the sign over there across the street, open? That's how far they are from the Jewish community. A week ago they chopped heads in Syria like this with a knife screaming Allahu Akbar. Then they come back to their country, nothing happened. And they walk inside on Antwerp. Every minute that they don't attack the Jews next to them, it's not a miracle, it's an ultra amazing miracle. It's a miracle. The fact that they are inside Israel and they hate us so much, and God forbid if they're going to do what they did in France. The situation, unfortunately, is only going to be worse. A week before the attack, if you listen to my lecture from last Monday, 4 days before the attack, listen to my last lecture, Monday night, 4 days before the attack in France, you listen to my lecture, and I said over there, France is finished. That's what I said before I knew that they're going to be attacked. 4 days later, massive attack. Do you think this attack is the last one in Europe? It will never stop. Until the Mashiach would come, the world will go on fire everywhere. We live here in America, Los Angeles, New York, Boston, whatever, Miami. So the Jews are thinking, oh Hashem, over here it's quiet. That's a very big illusion. You don't know what's happening under the ground. You don't know, God forbid, what else they prepare. You don't know. We don't have security. We are 100% depend on the mercy of Hashem. If Hashem wants to save us, He saves us. Otherwise, there's no chance. It's not only Jews. All Americans are in danger. All Europeans are in danger. The situation in the world is exactly like the prophet said more than 2,000 years ago. The prophet says, today they published something incredible. Incredible. Do you know what they published? Maybe I should read to you word by word what they published. You won't believe such a thing. What did they write? They said in a book that was written 250 years ago. 250 years ago. In a book that was written, it said over there, ISIS, Daesh, ISIS in Hebrew, it's Daesh. You know what's Daesh? Daesh, it's an Arabic name of ISIS. I'm going to read to you word by word what they say. Listen to this. This, it says like this. Daesh, Dalet Ain Shin. It's a klipa, impurity. What this Daesh is going to do and future to do, this was written 250 years ago. 250 years ago. They're going to instigate and made a lot of problems and fights and big war between 70 nations of the world. They will all kill each other. Elu orgim v'yargu elu et elu. They will kill one each other non-stop. As the Torah says in Sefer Shmot in Exodus 14, verse 14, Hashem yilachem lachem v'atem tachrishun. Hashem said to the Jews, just sit and trust me and let me do the war for you. You think you're winning the war? You don't have a chance to win the war. Just sit, trust me, and let me do the work. Ki klipa zo, ata gover, this kind of impurity is becoming stronger and will bring the salvation to the Jewish nation faster and faster. Ki elu yesachsechu ha'amim, this Daesh will instigate between the nations. Mitzrayim b'Mitzrayim. The prophet Isaiah say, one day you will see before Mashiach come, I'm going to make an eternal war in Egypt. Do you remember what happened a few months ago in Egypt? the Muslim brothers against Mubarak, and then later Sisi against the Muslim brother, and then with the Hamas, everybody fights over there. Did you know that the Russian plane also was knocked down by Daesh, by ISIS? They put a bomb inside. Now they found out that one person works in the Egyptian airport in Sinai, cooperate with them and help them to get into the plane and put a bomb there that killed all the Russian people that were on the plane. As a result of that, they closed all the flight to Egypt, Russia. They don't fly to Egypt and other countries as well. They're going to lose billions of dollars, tourism. Nobody will go there. That's what they do. They make wars between all the nations. And יסכסכו העמים אלו באלו, סכסכתי מצרים במצרים, I will instigate Egypt against Egypt, ונלחמו איש באחיו, they will fight one against his brother, איש ברעהו, one against his friend, city against city, kingdom against kingdom, and that's the secret behind the final war, what we call Gog uMagog, the final war. After that, eventually the Mashiach would show up, and all the prophecies that are in the Tanakh will fall into place. But until then, this is some of the things that will happen in the world. Which one of the Jews will marry to survive these critical days that we're getting into? Which one? Everyone that his mother is Jewish automatically will get saved? I wish it was true. I wish I could stand here today in front of you in Los Angeles and tell you things that make everyone relax and happy, but there will be a lie. What's better? To say things that people like to hear, and later they will get stabbed in the back because they're not ready to protect themselves? Or better to warn the people and prepare them for the days that we're heading to? Because all the things that are happening right now are all written in Judaism. Everything was written. It was written not 200 years ago, 400 or 500 years ago. It was written 2,500 years ago. What will happen in a war before Mashiach will arrive? What will happen with the Arabs in the world? Now you have to remember what I say here. When this was written by the prophets, there was not one Arabic country in the world. Today, all the Middle East is Arabic countries. When it was written 25 or 2600 years ago, the Arabs lived in deserts. They were very, very primitive. They didn't have what they have today. Today they have their wealth and their power thanks to the oil. The Arabs always had the oil because they always lived in the Middle East. But there's nothing they could do with the oil. They couldn't get it out of the ground. They only got it out of the ground because of Jewish engineers and American engineers and European engineers. They did the refineries, they invested billions and trillions of dollars over there, and they became their partner. United States, all Texas is like this. The Bush family, the Cheney, all of them, they're all involved in a big oil business. It's all Exxon company, all these companies, they together with the Arabs move all the oil in the world. Without their help and technology, they couldn't get the oil that they have. It's in the ground, but they couldn't get it out. But once they started to get it out, they became the richest country in the world. Bahrain, Abu Dhabi, Saudi Arabia, Iran, all these countries, they became very rich. But when the prophet spoke about what the Arabs will do to the world, nobody could ever dream that these Arabs on camel in the middle of nowhere in a desert one day will occupy the whole world. Who could have predicted such a thing? We're not talking there was the Greek empires. Okay, so if somebody wrote one day the Greek empire will occupy the world, it's not such a big deal. It's logical. Or the Philistines, or the Babylonians, or Egypt or Pharaoh. No, this was very big empires in the time of the prophets. But when the prophets wrote their prophecy in the Zohar 2,000 years ago, the Jewish Kabbalah, there was no fear and threat from the Arabs. They didn't have the armies they have today. There was no Islam. We're talking 1,000 years before Islam started. Nobody could have predicted what the Arabs one day will become. And the Jewish prophets warned the Jews, they say, before Mashiach would come, the Arabs will control the world for 9 months. And there will be a horrible 9 months. Worse than what happened in the time of the Romans and the rest of the world. because their cruelty is more than any other nation in history. If the prophets told you that their cruelty is the worst, that means it's worse than the Nazis. If we saw what the Nazis did to us, how much worse it can get? Hashem Yerachem, just from the thought you want to faint. If the prophets told you the cruelty of Ishmael is something that people never saw in a history. Today we begin to see how they take a knife, they take a woman and cut her neck like this with no fear, and they all laugh and scream. How to believe such thing? Do you know, I want to tell you something. The Nazis, they killed 6 million Jews and many other Goyim. Did you ever hear about a Nazi that committed suicide to kill Jews? Let me die as long as I take few Jews with me. Did it ever happen in the history, such thing? They only killed us as long as they did not get hurt. If you tell the Nazi, hey Hans, I will let you kill the Jew, but you have to go with them. He'll give up his plan. So let them go. I don't want to die. But that's not the same thing with Abdallah and Ahmed. You tell him, you want to kill those 2 Jews, you have to go with them. He says, oh, great. Great, 72 women waiting for me in heaven. Wait and see Arafat and Sheikh Yassin coming to welcome him. What a disappointment he's going to have. You know one thing, you need to use your head. The Arabs admit that the Jews received the Torah in Mount Sinai. They do admit it. Inside the Torah it says that God doesn't like people that live like animals. It's obvious that when a man marries a woman, he has desire to her. And they have sexual attraction between each other. If they don't have it, it's a problem. They should have it. It's a part of marriage. In Judaism, speaking about it, it's not a crime. It's the opposite. That's a major part of marriage. But that's not what marriage is all about. There's other things in marriage. If people don't have this, I always tell my students, the guys and the girls, when you go on a date, don't ever fall in a trap that some of the Shatchanim do. They put pressure on you because they want to close the deal. The matchmaker, they put you together, a man with a woman, guy with a girl, and they put pressure. She's good for you, the love will come later, don't worry. What if the love will not come later? You're going to have a roommate now for 30 years, you have to live with him in the same room and you cannot stand him? What will happen then? What will be the future of the children that will be born a year or 2 later and now they're going to have to live with divorced parents? There is a serious consequences and a price to pay. So I always tell them, when they offer you a date, and I know I see a lot of single people here, so I'm telling it to you right now. When they offer you a date, in Judaism, this is the way it works. You don't just go and date someone because he has beautiful eyes, or because his father has a lot of money in his bank account. Even if it's important, that's not the reason why you should date someone. You have to make a serious investigation who this person is or who this woman is. However, before you start even your investigation to know if it's a righteous boy or not, or modest girl or not modest girl, before you even get into this, first thing you have to check if you have physical attraction to that person. Meaning when you look at this woman, you like, this is your taste, you like how she looks, you like how she is, tall, short, heavy, skinny, everyone with his taste. Not everyone likes the same thing. Reuven likes skinny, Shimon likes heavy. It's a matter of taste. What's good for him is not good for him. What's beautiful for him may not be beautiful for him. And the other way around. With the women, same thing. First thing, I like the way she looks, or I like the way he looks. Size, height, face, body, all that things. If that's a good match, both are interested in each other, now the investigation begins. Step 1 is behind you. If step 1 is negative, you don't go to check if they're righteous or not. What is it going to do? You cannot live with someone you cannot stand, the way they look. You'd be disgusted from a person just because he's righteous, you're going to live with him in the same bedroom for 30 years. It's unheard of. That's what happened to a lot of naive people. Because they keep telling them, no, the love will come later, don't worry, the love will come later. Sometimes it does come later. 90% of the time it doesn't come later and the situation only gets worse. So first you have to make sure that there is a match and attraction. Now you begin to check. Righteous boy, learning Torah, loving Hashem, praying, honest, decent, generous, gentleman, educated. You begin to check. Family, there's a lot of things to check. Not everything will be perfect. If you're looking for a perfect product, you continue to live in illusion for the rest of your life. You will not find a perfect guy, and you will not find a perfect girl. However, if it's 70-80% perfect, it's also very good. You take the bad with the good. Nothing is perfect. If you look for perfect, you're gonna die single. That's what's happening today. Everybody wants a special combination of a movie star and a rabbi. It's not working. It usually doesn't exist. You understand? He wants a Rebbitzin and Miss Universe at the same time. It's not always going together, you know. So the next thing is, now you're going to check a girl, you want to marry a woman. After you like the way she looks, after you have chemistry with her, everything, you know, you saw who she is, you know, okay, this is somebody I can really love one day. It doesn't happen overnight, it may take a month or two, but fine, at least there is a possibility. The Stipler said, it was 30 years ago, when the world was much cleaner than today. There was no internet, no dirty pictures anywhere. People were more decent and modest, even the secular people. Back then, the Stipler say, they're offering you a date, as long as the woman does not disgust you, meaning that you're not getting disgusted by looking at her, you should give it a try. Meaning there's a chance maybe things will click and eventually you'll fall in love. Today, this advice that he gave, it's still very good to Hasidish people, to ultra-Orthodox people that watch their eyes all their life. They don't have too much temptation. So therefore, it's very likely that they will fall in love with a girl just because she's righteous and okay looking. It's not realistic by the world of the Baalei Tshuva. Someone that lives secular or watch movies all his life and read secular magazine and watch pictures on the street everywhere he go, and think that he's going to go like this and all of a sudden he will be Rabbi Akiva. It's just not going to work. I'm preparing you for a realistic life. For those of you, one day when you date the right girl, you will know what not to do. You have to be very careful. So of course it's important, righteous. Of course the personality is the most important one. Traits. First, honesty. Person that connects to the truth or everything in his life is a lie. Some people, they're such liars, they don't only lie to the world. They're busy lying to themselves from morning to night all their life. They're such liars that they don't lie only to their parents and to the neighbors and to their teachers and to friends. No. They actually lie to themselves and they believe their own lies. That's how many people like this I meet every week. No, you want to marry someone like this? How long your marriage would last? Become a nightmare. Not marriage, a nightmare. Everyone think there are three steps in the life of the human being. One that is single, one that is getting married. Now in marriage, there's happy marriage and miserable marriage. Single, everyone is miserable. If they're normal. Someone is miserable, someone is single and he doesn't want to get married and he says that he's okay, he's happy. No, he's out of the norm. Most people want to marry someone that they love. They want to come home to have someone. They want to have children. That's most people. So everyone that is single is not happy from his situation, especially if they get older with the years. They're not happy. So automatically it builds a lot of pressure. Because they already have a lot of pressure to get married, especially if their parents are alive. They constantly call every 2 days. No, Moishi? What do you think? Eliyahu Hanavi will come and match you someone? Maybe you should do a little bit more efforts. We're getting old, you know. We want to have one grandchild at least. And that builds a lot of pressure. And then in the end, he makes the wrong choice. because he wants to satisfy his parents or whatever. So there are 3 steps. One is miserably single. Second, miserably married. And third, happily married. How many people, percentage-wise, are in the status of happily married? Percentage-wise. 2%? You're very optimistic. 2%. That would be great, 2% from thousands of couples, many of them who should be happy. There's also different levels of miserably married. Miserably that it's obvious, and miserably hidden, sugar-coated. Everything looks beautiful, but then when you connect them to a lie detector, the truth comes out. Sometimes when you call a house of a person, all it needs is 20 seconds, the way his wife answered the phone, and you know what's happening in the house. You call, hi, may I speak to Mr. X? David! You feel the anger, the poison in the voice. Sometimes the same thing with the kids. You wait for him to call his father, you see how he reacts to the call, you already know what's happening there. Because in a life of a person, he can fool the whole world. But there was one person he cannot fool, it's his own wife or husband. Husband knows who his wife is, and the wife knows who her husband is. Even if he's a beautiful actor in Hollywood, and in Hollywood is a hero, and compassionate, and and he has great manners, he's a gentleman, that doesn't mean he's like this in his life. I had a student from Los Angeles many years ago, 15 years ago. He was an amazing hacker. He hacked into the FBI computers. That's how good he was. And back then he was 19 years old. Because of that, he had to escape from Los Angeles, and he arrived to New York to live with some relatives because they were searching for him. Why the FBI were searching for him? Not to put him in jail, to hire him. They say, if you were able to penetrate our computer, you gotta be super, super genius. We need people like you to do it to Iran. But he didn't want to work for the FBI. The guy has plans. So he moved out of Los Angeles that they stopped bothering him. And when he moved to Los Angeles, he found me. 2 weeks later, I made him religious. And then he asked me if he can bring his family to my house for Passover. I say, yes, family from LA. So the mother is an Israeli Sephardi woman. He made her religious. She was already traditional. Now she became more religious since he came to the yeshiva in New York. And the father was an Italian convert that worked in the fanciest restaurant in LA where all the movie stars are eating. He is the one in charge, and he knows all of them like friendship. De Niro, Pacino, all these people. So he come to me, and now he tell me all the secrets of the fake Hollywood world. How this guy come with his wife to the restaurant, and she say to him, sit here and be quiet, I say. Yes, dear. But in the movies, he's a real macho. I don't say names, even though it's non-Jews, but I rather not ruin the reputation. Especially the ones that are considered to be, they are the... Then he told me one more thing. He said, Rabbi, a very nice man, convert, Shomer Shabbat. He said to me, what do you like to drink? He brought very fancy wines. Back then I didn't know anything about wine. So I told him, water. So he said to me, water is for women and for flowers. Man doesn't drink water. Italian guy. Anyway, some of these movie stars are Jewish, believe it or not. Do you know that or no? They have Italian names, but their mother is Jewish. And most people do not know it. Famous Italian ones, they're actually Jewish. And famous Jews are actually Goyim. Everyone thinks Howard Stern is a Jew. He's a Goy. His mother Goya. And people say, look at the Jews, how they behave. He's not a Jew. He doesn't have a Jewish soul. Just because his last name is Jewish doesn't mean he's Jewish. One time I say something, they butchered me in Israel. It's enough. You have one person that's jealous with you, he sit all day and wait for you to say something controversial that tomorrow he can celebrate in the internet. What did I say? Tell me if you agree with me or not. I said the Nazis, they killed 6 million Jews. That's the statistic, every book you read. But according to the Torah, you're only Jewish if your mother is Jewish, not if your last name is Cohen. You can be Cohen, Levi, Horowitz, Rosenthal, Mizrachi, and you can be 100% a Goy. If a Jew marry a Goya, and they have 4 kids, they call them Yosef and Shimon and Yitzchak and whatever you want. Yitzchak Cohen, what can be more Jewish than that? But the mother is Christine. The 4 kids are all Goyim. In Germany, at least, I don't know the rest of Europe, but the statistic of Germany before the Holocaust started, 80% of the Jews in Germany marry Goyim. 80%. Almost like America today. 70% here in America, unfortunately. So if 80% are marry Goyim for 3 or 4 or 5 generations, only God knows the statistic, there's no way to know. But if they already marry Goyim for 3, 4 generations, Goyim and half Jews that marry half Jews and half, but it only goes by the mother and the grandmother, you don't know anymore after 4 generations who is a Jew and who's not. And it's very, very possible that the amount was a lot smaller than 6, as far as Jewish souls. It doesn't matter, people die, it's always a tragedy. But we as Jews, obviously when your brother dies, it's more painful when a stranger dies, right? If a person's brother died, he cried the same thing when the neighbor died? No, if your brother died, you cried 100 times more when the neighbor died. And if somebody that you never heard of died, you cry exactly a minute and you move back into your business. Why? This is the way the world is. People cry in their own deals. So I say that to comfort a lot of the Jews, to say, well, you know what, maybe the tragedy was a little bit smaller, maybe 5 million, maybe 4 million. Everything I say is 100% the truth. But people don't like to hear the truth. So one of them called me a Holocaust denier. He compared me to Abu Mazen. You know Abu Mazen, the Palestinian prime minister? When he was young, he wrote a book denying the Holocaust. So now it's Abu Mazen, Ahmadinejad, and me. We can do zimun now when we eat bread. 3 makrishe Shoah. Understand? When people are jealous, the logic does not work. If you have a competitor and he hates you for your success, every day he makes up another story. The last story that person, you don't know who I'm talking about, but just for you to get the idea, he said that I allow mixed marriages. Mixed dancing. A year ago in Los Angeles, they butchered me that I say mixed dancing between guys and girls bring tragedies to the Jewish nation. You remember what they did in Los Angeles? Fanatic. There's no problem mixing dancing with guys and girls. What difference does it make if the wedding is mixed? So from one side, they complain why I say you're not allowed to mix and dance. And then the other side say, can you believe he allowed guys and girls to dance mixed? Where exactly I allow it? Never. But someone make up a story. On the internet, everything is running. This is the way the world is. Someone decide today, what lie should I make? And he makes a lie. That's why the Gemara say, הקנאה והתאווה והכבוד מוציאים את האדם מן העולם. There are 3 mental diseases that take a person and destroy his life. 1, jealousy. You cannot act rational. The jealousy kills you. You can destroy yourself. People destroy themselves to hurt someone that they're jealous with, as long as they get a satisfaction that finally they destroyed him. But they get destroyed also. One guy, Eliyahu Hanavi, came to him. He knew that he has an enemy that he hates very much. Reuven and Shimon. Reuven hates Shimon so much. So Eliyahu Hanavi said to him, hey, Reuven, today it's your day. Whatever you like, I will give you. In one condition, that you understand that whatever you ask, I'm going to give your enemy Shimon double. So he told him, oh yeah? Take one of my eyes out. I can manage with one, as long as you take his 2 eyes. It sounds like a joke, but there are many people like that. Sometimes in competition in business, he will invest fortune to bury his competition. But you're losing money, you fool. You're losing money. It's okay as long as I destroy him. This is the way people are. So that's jealousy. Also, jealousy makes a person constantly depressed. Did you see two in-laws, sister-in-laws, when they jealous with each other, how much they suffer? The husband comes home, his wife, panim Tisha B'Av. Face like in Tisha B'Av. Why she's always sad? Because her husband's brother buy more stuff to his wife than her. Maybe she lived in a bigger home, or she has a nicer car. So she's now going to suffer for 10 months because somebody else that she knows and jealous with has some maybe easier life a little bit. That's jealousy, illegal. Then ta'ava, desires. How many people died because of food? The majority of the sicknesses come from food, Chazal say. From eating more than what we should eat. How many people here, Baruch Hashem, there's a lot of people here, can raise their hands and say, I only eat when I'm hungry. I never eat because the food is delicious. Meaning, I ate 2 hours ago, I'm 3/4 full. I wasn't planning to eat for another 2-3 hours, or 4. But I accidentally went into a place that they serve the most delicious sushi or steak. It wasn't my plan to eat steak now. But they took it out of the grill and it smells so great, and he finished 3 steaks now. Why? Desire, not because you're hungry. When people go to a restaurant, do they order based on their stomach or they order based on their eye? Ask the busboy how much garbage he throws to the garbage every day. Half of the food that people order automatically goes to the garbage. Appetizers and this and extra that. By the time the main plate comes, the person is stuffed already. Some people take it to go, some people it goes to the garbage. Why? Big eyes. Desire. How many people have children somewhere in the world that came to the world because of their desire to some woman that they met 2 minutes ago? How many people are dead with AIDS or HIV? They limited all their life for 1 minute or 10 minutes of desires. How many people suffer with hepatitis A and B and C and all kinds of other problems for 10 minutes of desire? How many people sit in jail 40 or 50 years because of their desire for money, and they started to sell drugs and manufacture it and who knows what else? The desire for money, or to rob a bank, or to do all kinds of frauds. The desire destroys the life of a person. If he cannot discipline himself, he cannot overcome the desire, is destroyed. How does a person overcome jealousy and desire? Only Torah and ethics. You learn Torah, you listen to CDs every day in a car, it melts the Yetzer Hara, the evil inclination. You don't listen, a month later you're done. That's the way it is. That's the antibiotic against the evil inclination. It kills the infection. You don't take the antibiotic, the infection kills you. That's the way it is. And what's the third thing? Honor, ego, pride, kavod. Kavod. Brothers don't speak to each other 20 years. Guess why? Because when the brother got married, he put his older brother to sit in a corner by the catering place with his back to the band. That's how he put me in a corner like a dog. Rachel, get up. We're leaving. Moshe, please don't make a scene. It's your brother getting married to I don't care. I'll teach this guy a lesson. I'm grateful. After all what I've done for him, what happened? They put him a little bit on the side. 20 years, hate, destruction. Why? Honor, kavod. Ego. Hurt a person that has high ego, see what his reaction is going to be. You're lucky if you're still alive the next day. People kill over honor. Not honoring each other. He didn't give him enough honor, he's ready to kill. The whole family will fall apart because his ego. Everyone is wrong and he's right. One guy, he got on the highway in the wrong direction. He see hundreds of cars coming. He goes left, right, left, like the Game Boy. Then he called his wife. He said, everyone is drunk today. Everyone is going the opposite direction. He said, you fool, did you think maybe you're the only one that goes against the right direction? So, the key to succeed in life is to be able to control your desires. And this is what we learned last week, Parashah. 2 days ago when we read Parashat Toldot, we have the story of Yaakov and Esav. Many people think the story of Yaakov and Esav is history. One day Rivka had 2 twins. They born. One became Jew, one became a Nazi. That's what happened. The Nazis and the Jews came from the same womb. Twins! How do you know Esav is the Nazis? How do you know? Maybe I made it up. If you know me well enough, you know I never made up things. I'm very careful. Even if it sounds strange, check. It's reliable. How do you know that the Nazis are the children of Esav? The Gemara says. Where? Masechet Megillah, page 6. Amud Vav. Masechet Megillah. Yaakov see in his vision, holy vision, what Esav is going to turn into one day. And he said to Hashem, dear God, don't let my brother Esav succeed in his plan. This is Germany of Edom. If they go out to the world, they'll destroy the world. This was 3,400 years ago when Yaakov saw his brother Esav. And the Gemara already said 2,000 years ago, there was no Germany in the world. No Germany. No Germany at all. The Gemara said 2,000 years ago in Masechet Megillah, this Esav one day will become Germany and will make a revolution and destroy most of this world. And the Gemara also says how this Germany will become into a nation. The Gemara says there will be 300 tribes that will merge into one nation. Go and check in a encyclopedia, put Germany, Bismarck. Bismarck is the founder of the German Republic. Collected 300 barbarian tribes. Bavaria, Westphalia, Silesia, all these tribes. And united them into the German Republic. How many? 300 exactly. As the Gemara said 2,000 years ago. How the Gemara knew that Esav will become the Nazis? What do you think? The Gemara writes what they feel? The rabbis, one day they wake up and they have a vision? It's all in tradition. It's tradition. They already knew that this Esav, this is what's going to be. But what's the secret behind the story of Yaakov and Esav? One is learning Torah, is a tzaddik, the other one is a hunter, a killer. That's what the Torah wants to teach us, that sometimes you have one brother righteous and the other brother is wicked. It's everywhere. What's the news? The secret here, it's the purpose of life. It's the battle between the body and the soul. Yaakov is the soul, Esav is the body. Hayadayim yadei Esav, the hands of the Esav, this physical world, everything that a person does, and the voice, which is a spiritual thing that come from the soul, is the voice of Yaakov. The secret here is like this. When a person comes to this world, Hashem takes a soul of a person that already died, and he puts it inside the new body of a baby. The body is programmed to run after desires. The soul is not interested in physical desire. The more physical desire a person chases after, the more the soul suffers. What does the body want? Let's talk about a man for a minute. What does the man dream about? Food, women, money, sport, cigarettes, In this generation, drugs, unfortunately, and few other things that pleasure the body. Women, more or less the same. What does the soul want? Not drugs. The soul suffers with drugs. Too much food, the soul suffers. Why the soul suffers? Because when a person is heavy, ate too much on Shabbat. האוכל חמין בשבת חייב מיתה. Someone that eats chulent on Shabbos, chayav mita. Usually when they say chayav mita, they mean must be executed. But not in this case. Here is mita with tet, meaning he has to go to bed. How many people are able to finish a plate of chulent and to sit after that for 2 hours to learn Gemara? If you find one person like this, marry your daughter to him right away. That's a tzaddik, habibi. He can control his desires. Usually when my guests come to me, in the middle of the meal, before the dessert even arrives, on the couch you have a line over there. 5 guys, the mouth is open, and the carpenters begin to play. The snoring all over. An orchestra, a choir. Why? One heavy meal, the soul went to sleep. What? The soul wants to learn Torah, but the body wants to rest. The body and the soul is a total opposite. It's a conflict between their desires. The soul wants Torah, prayers, chesed, truth, connection to Hashem. The body is the obstacle of what the soul wants. Try to imagine something. Sometimes God takes 2 souls and put them in one body. In our modern language, we call it Siamese twins. Did you see the movie about these 2 girls that have one body? One head comes from this shoulder and one head comes from the other shoulder, and they talk to each other. Did you see that or no? Incredible film. 2 minutes film. 2 people, 2 souls in one body. They have one set of hands, one set of legs, one body, one heart, everything of one body, but 2 heads, 2 different souls. They talk to each other. One soul and another soul. God put them together in one body. Probably it's husband and wife who didn't respect each other in the previous life. Now I'm going to teach you a lesson. Even to go to the bathroom, they have to make some kind of compromising. One wants to go play piano, the other one wants to run to do ballet. Come on, I want to do ballet now with my friends. No, I'm in a mood to play piano, but I have only one set of legs. They must make peace. Imagine you take a Jew and a Palestinian and put them in one body. The Palestinian will kill himself. He'll break the head of the Jew and die with him. He'll kill 2 birds with 1 stone. Why? Anyway, he wants to commit suicide. Kill the Jew. The only problem is when he go to the next wall and the 72 girls come, he will see the Jew over there. He ruins everything. What are you doing here? You're not supposed to be here. Well, I'm attached to you, you fool. 1 Jew and 1 Arab. They used to be neighbors. And they had ducks. Each one has his own ducks. Back in the primitive days when they had chickens walking in the backyard. So the Jew and the Arab, they fight over 1 goose. The Jew said to the Arab, it's my goose. The Arab said, no, don't be a thief, Yahud. It's mine. No, it's mine. No, it's mine. How much a goose cost? $10. So the Jew said to the Arab, listen, I have an idea. Since we're not reaching an agreement who owns the goose, let's make a deal. You bend down, I run behind, I give you 1 kick behind, and then you kick me. The one that will kick harder will get the goose. You agree? The Arab say, fair deal. So the Jew says, since it's my idea, I will start. So the Arab is bending down like this, Muhammad, he say, Bismillah, Allahu Akbar, save me from the kick of this Yahud. The Jew ran, he gave them 1 kick, he made him fly to the other side of the river. Now the Arab comes back, he say, okay, you killed me, now it's my turn. The Jew say, take the duck. Take the goose. That was worth it, $10 to lose. That's what the Gemara said, the Torah said, "Betachbulot ta'aseh lecha milchama." When you come to fight, you have to be clever, not only strong. When I was in the Israeli Air Force, the American Air Force, they consider themselves very prestige Air Force. Especially I was just in San Diego today. When I passed by, we saw the airplanes, all the war airplanes in San Diego by the water there. They fly. So when I was in the Air Force 25 years ago, they used to come and train with Israel. And the Israeli pilots, many of them were 21, 22 years old, very unexperienced. They just started first year to fly. We used to make combats with them. In the end of 3 days maneuvers and training, the Israeli used to knock down over 100 American planes. The American knocked down 1, 2, maximum 3. It used to be such a defeat. And the Israelis were kids. So I asked one pilot, I remember his face, Erez his name. I said, how do you do it? What, they so dumb? He said, it's not a matter how you fly the plane and how you shoot and how you lock the missile to bomb the other plane. That's everyone knows. It's all the tricks to plan the combat. The planning of the combats, to use your head, how to fool them. One comes from the right, one from the left. It's like in sport. You can be a very good athlete, you shoot very well, you know how to play basketball, but if the coach is not clever to know how to play, you lose the game. In life, you have to be clever against the evil inclination. If you surrender to it again and again and again, it destroys you and take over your life. And the way he makes a person destroyed is, הקנאה והתאווה והכבוד מוציאים את האדם מן העולם. The destruction, jealousy, honor, and desire takes a person out of this world. Since time is running out, I'll tell you a story. One Jew that was in camp in the Holocaust 5 years, just before the end of the war, when everybody understood that that the Americans and the Russians are about to liberate the camps. The rumor was that any minute the Russians will arrive. And finally we'll have freedom after this Gehenom on earth. So the Nazis, they were trying to cover from the war crimes in the last few days that there's not going to be evidence about what they did to the people there. So they made everyone stands in line to give them rolls, bread, rolls. Bread. When did they ever give them rolls? It used to be very stale piece of bread, one slice a day, that's it. Now they give them nice rolls, like challah rolls. So when they keep bringing one batch, another batch, so one Jew was standing on line. When they arrived, when his turn arrived to get a roll, they ran out of it. They ran out of it. But the Jew received, he was supposed to get offline. He received one roll, and they say to the rest of the line, wait right here, we're going to bring more. So the Jew thought, shh, let me trick the German, maybe I'll get another roll. He doesn't remember that was the last one that got. So he's standing. He took his roll and he went back to line. He put it like this inside of his shirt. And when the German brought another basket full of rolls, then he said next, and the Jew came and he received another roll. So now he has one under his shirt and one in his hand. As he walked, one other wicked Jew came and said to him, don't you think I saw what you did? Now you're going to give me your rolls. If not, I'll tell on you and you get killed right now, the day before we get free. So they started to fight. The Jew said, okay, at least take one. Why you want to take two? He said, either you give me the two and I tell on you. So what happened is this guy started to hit him. He started to beat him up and then took away all his two rolls and the Jew fainted. The Jew was crying, he was all broken, his eyes were swollen. When he woke up in the morning, after he fainted, he saw everyone around him is dead. They put poison inside the rolls. Everyone who ate the roll died. That's how they killed the last people. They wanted to clean everything. The only one who survived that was that Jew. And why he survived? Because the other one robbed him from his 2 rolls. So when he was beaten up, what did he think in his mind? Why God is doing it to me? 5 years I suffered this hell here. 5 years I went crazy for what they did to us over here. Finally now I have 2 pieces of bread that I can eat 1 normal meal after 5 years. You send me this wicked guy to take it away from me? Where is your mercy, God? Just when life looks like you're at the bottom of the bottom, you don't know how lucky you are. That's the problem in life. We are crying for things that eventually can become the blessing of our life. And we are dancing for things that are the curse of our life, God forbid. When a person has a baby, Mazel tov, mwah, mwah, mwah. You know how the Persian come? A lot of much and kisses and hugs. How do you know if this baby will be blessing or a curse? Maybe one day he will be a robber. Maybe he will torture his parents' life. Maybe he'll be a drug dealer. Maybe he's going to go in and out of jail. Maybe he will embarrass the family everywhere on the news. Maybe he'll steal his parents' money and put them on the street for his drugs. You don't know. Everyone already assumed this baby is a blessing. Maybe this blessing is Yasser Arafat. 20 years later, the people would say, wow, just to think that I told you Mazel Tov 20 years ago when he was born. Sometimes the other way around. When the kid is born, problem, diseases, doctors, surgeries. You waited 10 years until he was born. And then one day is the chief rabbi of Israel. You don't know. This is the way it is. We'll finish with one story, and then if you have questions, I'll answer. One Israeli had already 4 girls. Is anxious to have a boy. I'll let you guess if he was Faradi or Ashkenazi. So he said to his wife, listen, now when you go give birth, if it's a girl, don't bother come back home. Stay in a hospital. That's how he tells her. She said, well, it's not in my hand. Listen, you heard what I said? One more girl, I'm finished. I want a boy, at least one boy. If it's a girl, don't bother telling me. Stay in a hospital, go to your parents, I don't care. Fool. A stupid person. The poor wife, how she has to come give birth now with such pressure. So the doctor, he said, what's wrong with you? Why are you so nervous? You're in panic. So she tells him the story. He said, I cannot believe your husband. He said, don't worry. I promise you everything will be fine. I'll take care of everything. Don't worry. Leave it to me, the doctor said. She's still nervous. After an hour, Mazel Tov. What came out? 2 girls, twins. No, I'm joking. One girl. One girl came out. The poor woman, instead of being happy, she has a healthy baby. Oh my God, why Hashem, you don't have mercy on me. The doctor said to her, I told you, just leave it to me. Relax, you wait and see how your husband's going to be here soon, hugging and kissing you. Wait! He called up the husband. Itzik! Yes, it's your wife's doctor. Yes, doctor, what's the news? Don't ask. Very, very sad day. What happened? What was it, a boy or a girl? It's a boy. So why, son? Baruch Hashem! He said, no, but don't ask what kind of a boy. First of all, it's going to be a miracle if he survives a week. One kidney is small, one kidney is big, one leg is short, one day is long, one eye doesn't see. Big problem we have now. We're going to need at least 20 surgeries to keep him alive. The guy, what, are you serious? Yeah. Big problem. You're going to need $1 million just to pay for doctors. Oh my God, I cannot believe it. Come quickly to the hospital. We need your signature to start the first operation. So when the guy showed up, he comes like this to the hospital. He's so depressed. And he said to him, excuse me, let me ask you a question. Don't you see that God is punishing you? He said, why? He said, because you tell your wife you don't want a daughter. Imagine now if you had a healthy daughter. Wouldn't you want God to give you now, instead of this kid, a healthy daughter? So you have 5 daughters. You don't want a healthy daughter? I'm going. So, don't you want a daughter? The guy say, yeah, you're right, it's my fault. He say, Mazal Tov, you have a healthy daughter. Ma? Yeah, I was just joking with you. Go and see her, what a beautiful daughter. You serious? Yes, I have a daughter. He ran like crazy. What really changed? He didn't want another daughter. But when he realized what the alternative could have been, now he appreciates what he has. That's the problem in our life. Hashem gives us gifts and we push it away. We're not interested because it's not what I wanted. How the kids always say, I need it, give it to me, I need it. I say, no, you don't need it, you want it. You don't need it. You want it. That's a desire. If you really get only what you really need, you'll be righteous. You don't move based on your desire. That's the key to succeed in life. You become a robot that consumes everything that you see and you want, and you're jealous, and you want $1 million wedding, and a $200,000 car, and a $50,000 watch, and you're thinking 2 months how to set the flowers in your wedding and all this nonsense, when you don't even touch the real purpose of your creation one day of your life. Do you think this nonsense will help you when you come to the real world? What are you going to come with? Empty hands? No Torah, no kindness, no righteousness, no modesty, no emet, no truth, no devotion to Hashem, no integrity, no nothing. No good personality, horrible traits. The same way you came to the world defected, you left the world double defected. More ego, more pride, more jealousy, more stinginess, more anger. Everything became worse. Why? You're busy, what kind of car will I drive? Who's going to be jealous when they see me in my new Ferrari? Ah, wow, I'm so happy. How long this happiness would last? 1 week? I leave you with one question. What's better, to be miserable rich or miserable poor? What's better in life? Someone who is rich and miserable, or someone that is poor and miserable? What would you like to be, if you had to be? Which one is better? Which one is worse? You tell me. Which one?
Rich and miserable.
What would you prefer to be?
Poor.
Miserable rich? Are you miserable rich?
Poor.
I'm sorry to disappoint you. Really, miserable poor is better. Why? Someone that is miserably rich, he has nothing to expect anymore. His life is finished. Nothing will ever make him happy. So he doesn't have reason to live. No motivation to do anything because I already have millions and I'm not happy. Someone that is poor lives with an illusion that one day he's going to make his first million and life will become paradise. So the motivation, I have a goal. When you have a goal in life, it keeps you running. If you reach what you wanted and it did not bring you happiness, you're done. That's it, you're done. Nothing will ever make you happy. A person is looking for meaning, something to fight for, something to struggle for. And I'm giving you the advice. Just do what you were created for. You were created for to be righteous, to overcome your desire, to fix your bad personality, to be a better human being, to keep the Sabbath, to dress modest, to be loyal, to establish kosher home, to eat kosher, to talk kosher, to learn Torah. That's what we're here for. If that's what you're gonna do, you'll be a king for eternity. If not, there's a very big question mark when we're going to be. Thank you very much. I'll see you soon again, Bezrat Hashem. Thank you very much.